Welcome to the Magnum Report. I'm your host, Mark Magnum, and before I get into any topics or anything, I want to just apologize for me being absent the last few weeks. I've been having some back issues. One of the reasons why I retired from pro wrestling was that, so I've been dealing with that to where I've been kind of down from that the last couple of weeks, so I want to apologize for that. But before I get into the actual topic for today, I want to at least say please subscribe, like, share, and also hit that notification icon so you don't miss out on future content. Now, into my talking point and my topic for today is why I do not watch AEW or NXT. Now, there was a time when I watched NXT, and, I even watched AEW when it first started, and I've seen both products, and I liked the black and gold version of NXT when Triple H was running it, and now that it's morphed, and it was the 2.0 with the puke rainbow colors, and I wasn't into it, and now that Shawn Michaels is booking NXT, I'm not as excited to watch it. Now, granted, I still DVR both shows, and if something newsworthy happens or anything like that, of course I go back and I watch. But I feel like when I watch Raw and I watch SmackDown, I'm watching already 5 hours of wrestling a week, and I'm raising 2 children on my own, so I've got enough going on in my own house to where I just don't have enough time in the week to watch all this wrestling. I know some people do, but I have a life, and I'm not, saying that people that watch all this don't, but I just have more stuff going on to where I don't have the time to spend and sit and watch all this. And when I'm watching NXT and you've got people like Wendy Chu, and it's more of a joke. And then when I watch AEW and it's a spot show and it's flips and it doesn't have the psychology that I want in my wrestling. Now, I know that's for some people, obviously, because they do get ratings and there are people watching these shows. But for me, as a longtime fan that has been watching this his entire life and did it for 12 years, it's hard for me to watch some of these shows that aren't as serious as they should be. And like with AEW, there's great talent there, and it's not all just guys they stole from WWE or anything like that. They've got some good homegrown talent. MJF, he's a star. He's a gem. He's a diamond in the rough over there, and I think he's one of the guys that's helped, carry them to where they're at right now since Punk's been gone. So there's great things there. You've got Bryan Danielson. There's a lot of great guys that they've got on both shows, on NXT and on AEW. But when I watch the overall product, and it doesn't get me to want to watch either show, and I can't really put my finger on why with NXT as much. More of it is just changed. And the format has changed, and the style has changed, and what they're doing with some of the guys and gals is kind of not what I want to see. So that kind of, the second they kind of pulled away and Vince kind of got involved with NXT, and then it turned to 2.0, and they've got some great guys there. They've got Braun Breakers, they've got Carmelo Hayes. There's some talent there, but for me, it's not enough to get me to watch week to week, just like with AEW. With AEW, like I said, it's spots, no psychology. I see matches where it's a standard singles match, but they're going through tables, and it never was said that it was a no disqualification or a hardcore. And it's just stuff like that. You watch some tag matches in AEW, and the guys are just doing whatever, like the tag rules aren't adhered to like they're supposed to be. And as a guy that spent a good portion of his career as a tag team wrestler, and I took that seriously, and the rules and how we worked the matches, and not just I'm going to get in at any time in the match, and it doesn't matter if I make the referee look stupid or how this comes off to the fans, because this is what I want to do. I never was of that. When I wrestled, I was more of doing the things that you were supposed to do out there. If it was a tag match, I'm not just going to jump in for no reason unless we've went out of our way to make sure the referee's distracted, and we do whatever we have to do quickly so the referee's not standing there with their back turned for so long to where it's obvious They're just, standing there with their back turned to let whatever's happening happen behind them. So that's my problem with AEW. Too many spots, too many flips, and there's just not that psychology. There's not that storytelling that I want in my wrestling. I mean, I'm not one of these guys that's massively into the hardcore and going through tables. It has its place, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a good table spot in the middle of a good blood feud or a cage match. But I mean, there's a lot of things, especially in AEW, where they have matches for no reason. You're having a steel cage match for no reason. You're having a ladder match for no reason. Guys are going through tables every week. It's bleeding every week. The same people every week. It turns me off as a fan. Now, granted, I think blood does have a place in wrestling, but every single week, the same person. You can call it like the clouds in the sky. You can see it. It's there. It's going to happen. So I just am not a fan of that style of wrestling from AEW. And then what they're doing in NXT, come on, it's too jokey. It's not serious enough for me. Like I said, with the Wendy Chu thing, you've got a woman that naps, and it's what? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of any of that. And I can sit there and say the same thing for main roster and SmackDown and Raw. There's things I don't really care for on those shows as well, but it's not as egregious as it is on NXT or AEW. There's still a little bit of psychology left around Raw and SmackDown. Granted, the matches aren't as long as they should be. I mean, they spend more time talking, and that's a problem of itself that I'll probably do for another podcast. But I feel like with NXT and AEW, I'll always DVR it. And, because there are things that are newsworthy, or when Braun Breaker turned heel, I'll go back and I'll watch certain things, of course. But for me to sit and watch it live every week, and for me to actually take my time out of my day to watch more wrestling, and that's saying something from a guy that wrestled for 12 years and has been watching it his entire life, that I don't even want to watch it. So I don't know if that says something about me, something about the product. I don't know. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm going to get off here. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, like, share. Also hit that notification icon. And also subscribe to my other podcast, the Mark and the Fan Wrestling Podcast, where me and my boy, the Cisco Kid, we talk about all things wrestling from back in the day to present day. We talk about absolutely everything. So subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to this channel. This has been another edition of the Magnum Report. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.